Hey lovies, welcome. I'm Nyx, your intuitive coach and energy alignment mentor, and this is your weekly energy update where we track what's moving through the collective field so you can move with it instead of against it. Now, this is the first weekly update within Gemini season, and if you caught my Gemini season forecast, you already know what we're walking into: the mind, the stories, the mental chatter running on loop in the background of your life. Gemini season is here to shake all of that up and ask you, what are you actually choosing to believe? Now, before we dive into the cards, the cosmos have been loud this week. Nothing really new here, right? Just before this week opened up, we had a Uranus Cazimi on May 22nd. That's Uranus sitting in the heart of the sun in Gemini. That's electric energy, revolutionary mental energy, the kind that wakes up parts of your thinking that you didn't even know were asleep. Now, that energy is still very much in the field as we move through this week, okay? Then on the 25th of May, we have two transits hitting on the same day. We've got Mars in Taurus that squares Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. That is going to be the heavyweight of this week. So think intense pressure, frustration looking for somewhere to go, power dynamic surfacing. The invitation here is to channel that tension into something productive rather than letting it slip sideways into conflict, okay? And then on the same day, we also have the sun in Gemini that squares Neptune in Aries. So think foggy boundaries, blurred lines, unclear thinking. Not really an ideal day for major irreversible decisions, okay? So trust your gut over logic on the 25th. And then on the 26th, we've got the sun that trines Pluto. And that's the fog essentially lifting. So focus returns, determination kicks back in. It's kind of like a one-day pivot from heavy to clear. And then May 28th brings Venus in Cancer, squaring Saturn in Aries. So that's going to be like your heart pulling in one direction and your responsibilities pulling in another. And then finally, just outside the window, but building all week, we've got the blue full moon in Sagittarius that arrives on the 31st of May. And this is going to be opposing Uranus in Gemini. So you can have unexpected breakthroughs, sudden news. So just stay adaptable as we move towards the end of the month. Okay, now that is a full week as always. So with that said, let's get into the cards. But before we do, just a quick reminder, each week we move through 4 cards. The first one will give us the energy of the week. The second one will tell us what's being asked of us. The third one's going to highlight the energy center calling for our attention. And the fourth is going to show us how to integrate and hold it all together. Okay, now let's get started. So the first card here, so the energy of the week is phrases, and it's about motivation, and this is card number 24. So as you can see, the first thing on this card is this billboard that says never give up, which tells me exactly what the field is working with right now. We are in our heads. Now Gemini season is about the mind. The cosmos confirmed it, and now the card is confirming it too. So this week it's about affirmations, but not the fluffy kind. Not the kind where you repeat something pretty until you've convinced yourself of a reality that hasn't arrived yet. That's not what I'm getting. This feels more like about using positive reinforcement to anchor yourself into the truth of what already is, even within the reality that you're currently moving through, okay? Finding the genuine pockets of positivity that already exist and building your safety from there. Because when you establish safety in the body, in the nervous system, the mind begins to naturally seek out more of that. It doesn't happen in the reverse. You can't think your way out of, or you can't think your way into feeling safe. You have to find what's true and then build from there. And the thing about the mind is it is hardwired for hypervigilance. It will always default to scanning for what's wrong, what's threatening, what's not working. It's not a character flaw, it's biology, but it does mean that we have to work consciously, deliberately, to redirect that scan towards what is also true and good and expanding. We cannot control how the outside world presents itself. We cannot fully control what lands in our social feeds. What people say to us, what energy walks in the room, but we can control what we feed our own mental, right? We can choose what we tell ourselves. We can counteract a negative thought with something neutralizing, something more true. And I would also say that this card is also telling me that the universe is also going to be sending phrases this week. This could be through a song that may hit differently, through a sentence in a conversation that may land a little louder than it should, through something that you may be reading, something someone texts you, something that stops you mid-scroll. So just pay attention to those moments, okay? And hold on to them. It's not a coincidence. It's coming more in like a confirmation. And also take time this week to identify what actually motivates you, not what you think should motivate you, what generally lights a fire under your butt, what makes you feel expansive rather than small. Because alignment expands you, but containment shrinks you. So learn the difference in your body. That distinction is everything, okay? Next up, we've got, so what's being asked of us this week is to launch. The card says it right on here. Don't let perfectionism cock block you from executing, okay? Done is done, and done is better than perfect. So essentially, get out of your own way. I'm going to say it one more time because some of you probably need to hear it like 5, 6, 11 times. Get out of your own way. Now, I know not everyone listening is stuck in comparison mode, but a good handful of you are. And you know who you are. You're telling yourself that you can't move on something because someone else has already done it, someone else did it better, someone else got there first, and that story is keeping you completely still. And then there are others who aren't necessarily in comparison mode, but you are in fear mode. Fear of judgment, fear of being misunderstood, fear of putting something out and having it received in silence. These are all valid things. They're real, and they will absolutely keep you from moving if you let them, okay? Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm void of this either. Honestly, I'm terrified every single time I go to put something out. Every step I take in this direction of what I'm doing has fear somewhere in the background for me. But I've just kind of learned to move anyway, to do it afraid, to do it uncertain. Because the truth is, let's be real, you will never be 100% certain, especially when you're doing something for yourself. There will always be a voice that tries to stop you, not because it wants you to fail, but because it's afraid. And it's afraid of the unknown, afraid of the same things you're consciously afraid of. Fear keeps you from getting hurt, right? Any more than you've already been. But it also keeps you from everything you actually want. So launch, okay? Whatever it looks like for you. Write the book, post the content, start the business, launch the website, make the call, take the step. The worst thing that can happen is not that it lands in silence. The worst thing that can actually happen is that you never try, and then you spend years living with the weight of that. So just do the damn thing. I'm also saying this to myself, okay? And so the energy center of this week, this is all about the throat chakra. Of course it is. Gemini governs the throat chakra, so I'm not really surprised. The cosmos and the cards are speaking essentially the exact same language right now. Now, the throat chakra is your energy center of communication, of truth, of expression. And this quest card is bringing something in very specific through the path that you are essentially seeking. It's already in front of you. The life you want is not somewhere else waiting for you in some future version of reality. It's here, it is now, which means some of you are on an unnecessary quest, chasing something outside of yourself that is actually already within reach. If you would just get out of your own head long enough to see it. Some of you are so focused on a story that is keeping you out of alignment that you can't even see what's actually available to you right now. So that mental noise is just a little too loud. And that's exactly why this chakra is calling for your attention this week under the Gemini energy. Because the throat doesn't just speak outward, it speaks inward too. So the voice you use to talk to yourself is the most influential voice in your life, right? And most of us haven't learned how to really listen to it, to distinguish it from the ego's voice, from the wounded voice, from the self-critical voice, from the voice that's been absorbing everyone else's opinion for years. So this week, take time to discover your voice, like your actual voice, the one that is rooted in the chest and the gut, not stuck in the throat from fear. It's got a different quality to it, a different pitch. It's steadier, it's more grounded, and it speaks truth even when the truth is uncomfortable. So like walk the talk, but first know your talk. Know what you actually believe, know what you actually want, and then have the courage to speak it and move towards it, okay? Your intuition will never steer you wrong. Your inner compass always knows. So trust it, okay? Lastly, we got how we're going to hold it all together and integrate is going to be through introspection, real introspection, okay? Not the overanalyzing spiral in the dark kind, not the self critical kind where you catalog everything you've done wrong and call it self awareness either. The brutally honest, compassionate, self responsible kind, the kind where you actually look at what's driving you, what beliefs are keeping you stuck, what you've been pretending is fine when it isn't. Okay? You cannot bullshit your way into alignment. You cannot bullshit your way into evolution. There is no shortcut through the inner work. Not if you want what you say you want to actually anchor in your life in a way that is real and lasting and far greater than what you've even allowed yourself to even imagine yet. Okay. I'm going to talk about a phrase for a second because the first card literally said phrases, and I think it's kind of fitting that we close here with this one. Fake it till you make it. Most of us have heard it, and most of us have misunderstood it. Fake it till you make it is not about deception. It's not about bluffing your way into spaces you haven't earned. It's a psychological and behavioral strategy that you consciously act with the competence and the competence, the belief, until the action builds the genuine reality of it. You're learning on the job as you go. You're managing the imposter syndrome. You're building new habits through the behavior of already being the person you're becoming. That's not fake, that's intentionally becoming. Um, Here's where I feel introspection may be key here because you can't fake it till you make it without knowing first what it is you're actually trying to make. You have to understand yourself, your patterns, your fears, your outdated beliefs, what you're actually moving toward and why. Without that self knowledge, you're just performing. And performance without foundation, it doesn't hold. So this week, dig deep, not to punish yourself, but to reclaim yourself. Clear the internal clutter, own your energy, heal what needs healing, and watch how the external world starts to reflect that back to you. The energy you carry is a direct reflection of what you hold inside, right? So choose wisely what you hold. Now, that there is the energy of May 24th to May 30th. Now, with the full blue moon in Sagittarius arriving on 31st, which is a week from when this drops, remember, stay adaptable. Expect breakthroughs, unexpected things to surface, okay? And let those things surface. Now, please drop in the comments, if you will, what is the one story you're ready to stop telling yourself? Now, be specific. That's where the shift actually starts. Now, if you're new here, welcome. And if you're not new, welcome back. Please hit subscribe so you don't miss next week's weekly update. And if someone in your life needs a nudge to finally launch the thing they've been sitting on for so long, send this to them. This might be the exact push they need. Now, take care of that beautiful energy of yours, and we will see you next week.